sometimes bad things happen, even in a wonderful country like ours. And the 18th of January 1977 was no exception. That was the day of the Granville train disaster. This poem is simply called Granville 1977. On the 18th day of January 1977, 84 train passengers went from hell to heaven. From Mount Victoria station, they were bound for Sydney town. But when they got to Granville, the bridge came crashing down. As the L6 locomotive went around the curve, the steering wheel left the rail and went into a swerve. The leading carriage left the track as it hurtled round that bend, and when it hit the bridge support, it split from end to end. The second and third carriages had nowhere else to go. They jackknifed and the overpass fell on the train below. Half the people in there were crushed right away, and hundreds more were trapped inside on that scorching summer's day. As word of this disaster spread, help came from far and wide. Ambulance and firemen tried to free those trapped inside. As they worked to help the injured, some of them also died. The air was thick with dust and gas as the train lay on its side. When all the dead were buried, they asked what failed that day. The government tried to cover it up, said the tracks were over gauge. But 30 years went by and the real story was told. Cost cutting by the government meant the spare wheels had been sold. 6 months before, they all knew that one day soon they'd fail. But on that day, they still were used. That's why they left the rail. There were other factors to that crash that also were to blame, that contributed to the Bold Street Bridge collapsing on that train. They found the bridge was poorly built, too heavy for the load. 3 feet thick of concrete was underneath the road. The rail system was rotten, the detectives realised. And the government withheld the funds, with safety compromised. On the 18th day of January 1977, 84 train passengers went from hell to heaven.
Here is a 2UE News Flash. Tony Dickinson reporting a bridge has collapsed on top of a train at the Granville railway station. Now, police on the scene say the bridge is heavy and several carriages have been crushed. Further news coming to hand, police are appealing for heavy equipment to move the bridge off the train. A number of people have been trapped, according to the first reports from police.
Newsman Paul Macon is ready to cross to us. We'll have to come off delay, Steve, but he's ready to go talk to you straight away.
All right, we'll take you to Paul Macon.
The scene is unbelievable here at the Granville Bridge, where the bridge that used to span the railway line has completely collapsed. It's something that it's hard to describe or do my best. The situation is that the bridge has collapsed onto several trains. One train carriage here is absolute matchwood. The roadway has collapsed. There's several cars. One is upside down here, or just about upside down. The roadway has collapsed. They were driving across it at the time. They've come down. God knows how many people are trapped under wreckage. At the moment, the police rescue squad are here. There's ambulance here, police.
All people move back from that side of the bridge. There's a danger of it collapsing.
And at the moment, Joe Beecroft and his boys from the rescue squad are attending to people in the carriages. It's come straight down on a carriage here. Most of the carriages underneath the bridge here. And the stretchers right along the railway line ready for people to be taken on them. Doorways of the carriages have been ripped off to be used as stretchers. People were found wandering down the road dazed, are being treated by ambulance men. And I notice here a fellow from the butcher shop attending to attending to a rope here, assisting anybody, assisting if possible. There's people running around here, tradesmen, other people who happen to be around at the time, assisting ambulance men, fire brigade, police rescue squad, just about anybody. Somebody here who might have been in the car. Were you in one of the carriages, mate?
In the front one.
Go on, tell us, what happened?
Right, just a bang, and we think the loco might have hit the stanchions under the bridge, but we're not sure. And next minute, a series of clangs, and we're upside down, the inside out. We're all over the bloody place, and the carriage burst like the sardine tin.
You've got blood all over you, okay?
Well, I saw a few things during the war. It's not very nice to look at them again.
There are people underneath that train, isn't there?
I've just been told there's about 80 under that bridge.
And that's just about flattened.
How they're going to get that bridge up, I don't know. I've got no idea.